Hi, I'm Steve Harris at Harris Retirement Advisors. Save Money Steve. And there's a lot of confusion about planning for retirement today and knowing how to replace your paycheck with a playcheck for the rest of your life. So today, I'm starting a new video series on the only vehicle available that can provide safety, security, peace of mind by providing a guaranteed income that you can never outlive in retirement. They're called annuities. And some love them, and some love them not so much. So over the next few minutes, we're going to cover the pros and cons of the 5 primary types of annuities available today. So let's get started. On the far left, and on the board behind me, are lists of the 5 annuities that are available today. And you can see they go from lower risk to higher risk. These are people that want safety first, and these are for people that have a little bit higher risk tolerance. You can also see that as the bar goes up, so does the potential return. The guaranteed and safe solution will typically have a lower return than the potential return of a higher one where you actually have to take some risk in the market. So let's start over here on the left. The first one on the left is what's called an immediate annuity. Back in 1990, my first job working for a life insurance company was running immediate annuity quotes. Immediate annuities, also called single premium immediate annuities or SPIAs, should be considered any time you want to create or replace an income stream for a variety of reasons. So while the most popular is a lifetime income with a guaranteed period certain, you could have a life only, which would give the highest payment. You could have a period certain that pays only a certain number of years. You could have a life and a period certain combination, like I mentioned, or you could have an installment refund or a cash refund that if you didn't receive all the payments back from the insurance company, the difference would be paid to your beneficiary. The good news is it's a guaranteed payment. You can count on it. Once you make that agreement with the insurance company, you know exactly how much you receive every month for the rest of your life. The bad news, it's a non-forfeitable contract, meaning that if you change your mind, there's really not a lot of recourse unless you sold it on a secondary market. Generally speaking, though, you trade off the ability to make changes to the contract in order to have that guaranteed income stream. What's to the left? Next is a fixed annuity. This one is when you want to start an income within the first 12 months. All the rest, you're pretty much starting income after the first year. The fixed annuity is also often called a CD type annuity, a lot like a bank CD does. In this, you give a lump sum of money to the life insurance company, and they will guarantee you a credited interest rate, either for the term of that contract or for 1 year at a time. The good news is that the interest rate's 3 or 4 times what you earn at a bank today. In fact, today I have 5-year multi-year guarantee annuities that are paying in the neighborhood of 4.1 to 4.25%. And so the good news is you can have a guaranteed interest rate. The bad news is inflation's running 8.5%, 9% today, so it's not a good hedge against inflation today. So let's go from the fixed annuity all the way to the far right to the variable annuity. The variable annuity is one that you get all the upside, but none of the downside. I was actually working on variable annuity designs in the mid-90s for a life insurance company, and here's what we found. We had introduced a variable annuity at my company, but we also saw our competitors coming out with new features and new benefits. Well, every time there was a new improved benefit, there was a new improved fee to go along with it. That 10 years later, by the mid-90s or 2000, and even today, variable annuities have fees that total up to about 4% each time. So what that means is that if you're invested in an equity fund, that instrument has to earn at least 4% for your variable annuity to make any money at all. Now, they've been around for a long time. They were first introduced by TIAA Crep back in 1952. And the idea behind it was to earn gains, but also have the tax deferral and the ability to turn on an income stream later. So really, a variable annuity is nothing but a collection of mutual funds. Now, they really exploded in the late 1980s and 1990s, just as mutual funds did, when investors had the opportunity, instead of buying individual stocks, you could buy shares of tons of stocks inside of a mutual fund. So what a variable annuity does is it takes that mutual fund and puts an annuity wrapper around it. So you still earn returns based on the ups and downs of that underlying investment. But the annuity wrapper is what gives it tax deferral and then the ability to convert it to an income stream later. So, but these benefits come at a cost. Like I said, they're up to 4% or so now. So let's take a look at the one just to the left of it. It's called a registered linked annuity, a registered index linked annuity. Now, the idea behind this is that unlike the variable annuity, where you get all the upside, but you also take all the downside risk, the RILA, if it's called, gives you a lot of the upside and limits the downside. Now, you're not going to maybe receive zero, but let's give you an example. Let's say that if the market goes up, you get some of the gain, but if the market goes down, you'll be exposed to part of the losses, but they'll be capped at, say, 2 or even up to 10% of your whole portfolio, so you don't lose all your money. So, Will Rogers always said, I'm more interested in the return of my money than the return on my money. So Will Rogers probably would have liked a fixed index annuity. He probably wouldn't have been so crazy about a registered linked or a variable annuity. So let's look at the one in the middle, the green one. It's called a fixed index annuity. To me, that's a sweet spot because it's sort of in the middle of the risk tolerance between low risk and high risk. It's also in the middle between lower returns and higher returns. So let me tell you how they work. You give your money to a life insurance company, and together with me, we would select the best product for you and the best accounts that you can invest your money in. Now, these different accounts or indexes, they're called, you're not really in that index. Let's say it's the S&P 500. Your money's not in that index itself. It's in an annuity contract that buys options on those indexes. So in essence, the interest rates is determined by the movement of that index. The way the fixed index annuity works is you get some of the upside, but you never get any of the downside if the market goes down. So then they also have different kind of riders available to them. I'll give you an example. I have one client that wanted growth. Growth. He didn't want any of the benefits. He wanted all to go to make as much money as possible on a tax-deferred basis. Had another client that her husband was preparing for retirement. They were a few years away. They wanted a fixed index annuity for the growth, but they also wanted to be able to turn on an income stream to supplement their Social Security when they retire. And we're able to put a product in place that does that for them. I have a third couple who also wanted to have guaranteed income later, and they're still working. However, one of the spouses had a medical condition. So it was important that they had some riders that could address that. So the fixed index annuity that we selected together for them gives them some of the upside, like a fixed index annuity does, none of the downside, but they also purchased a rider that goes with that when they turn on income, they'll give an income stream for as long as they live. But if that spouse has a medical condition, they can't do what's called 2 of 6 activities of daily living, be that bathing, getting out of a chair, being able to dress yourself, being able to feed yourself, or some possible cognitive issues, then with a doctor's note that if they suffer from 2 of those 6 ADLs, the company would double that payment. So in this case, the client may be receiving $15,000 a year to supplement their Social Security. But once they're diagnosed of not being able to perform 2 of 6 ADLs, that money would double to $30,000 for up to 5 years. And here's the other thing that's great about a fixed index annuity. Should they withdraw all their money out of the annuity and the annuity balance goes to zero, and they're receiving that $15,000 a year, well, they're still receiving it as lifetime income, even if the annuity is worth zero. So how do these credit interest between the variable annuity, the RILA, and the fixed index annuity? Well, let me give you a quick example. Let's say you had a choice between investing directly into an S&P 500 mutual fund, a variable annuity that had the S&P 500 as an index, a RILA, the registered index linked annuity that had a S&P 500 index as one of its options, and a fixed index annuity. Well, the S&P 500, let's say the index did 12% last year. So if you were in an S&P mutual fund, you would have earned 12%. Let's say the variable annuity also has earned 12%, but it had a 4% fee. So at the end of the year, that client made 8%. Let's say the RILA also had an S&P 500 account, and they say you get 80% of the gain and you'll suffer 20% of the loss. Well, 80% of 12 would be 9.6. So the registered index linked annuity that year would have earned 9.6%. Then you have the fixed index annuity. The fixed index annuity promises some of the gain, but never the losses. So in this example, they're getting a 60% participation rate, meaning that they'll get 60% of whatever the index did that year. So if the S&P 500 did 12%, then 60% of that would be 7.2%. That would 7.2% would be locked in here, 9.6% would be locked in here, 8% would be locked there because of that 12% S&P 500 performance. Now, if the S&P, though, instead went down 10%, this client would have lost 10%. This client probably would have lost 2%. This client would have received what I call a positive zero. He didn't make any money that year, but he didn't lose any money that year, nor did he lose anything that he'd built up to that point. So, if you're planning for your retirement, and you're looking for ways to have guaranteed income plus tax-deferred growth with no market risk along the way, perhaps a conversation might be in order. It's very difficult to go this alone. That's why you need a guide. So at the end of this presentation, you'll have the opportunity to go to my website. And on the upper right of my website is a button that says Start Your Retirement Journey Now. Click on that button, it'll take you to my calendar where we could set a no obligation consultation, either a phone call or a Zoom, or we can meet at a nearby coffee shop or in your home. If you're looking for ways to supplement your income in retirement, as Will Rogers said, it may be more important to have return of your money than the return on your money. So good luck, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.